From Relay, this is Connected, episode 580. Today's show is brought to you by our sponsors, Ecamm and KRCS. Happy Thanksgiving, and I'm joined by Myke Hurley.
Yes.
Hello, Myke.
Happy Thanksgiving to you too, Federico. We are recording this on Thanksgiving Day.
Yes.
It will not be published on Thanksgiving Day because Stephen said I couldn't make our editor Jim work on Thanksgiving, which he's probably right. I wasn't trying to argue the point, but he did remind me, and so, yeah, we're going to be publishing it a day late. I'm thankful for Jim for all the work that he does every week in putting this show together and publishing it and getting it all wonderful for our listener pleasure. So we should all be thankful to our wonderful editor, Jim Messendorf. But we will be up a day late, and yes, because it was also Thanksgiving, it's just two of us, you know? Just a couple of Europeans hanging out.
Yeah, it's no Thanksgiving for us.
No.
Do you celebrate with a special meal or anything tonight, Myke?
Not tonight, but we're going to be spending Thanksgiving with the Underscore family this weekend.
Nice.
So
Nice.
they're inviting us to a meal that they're having. So I'm looking forward to that a lot.
Nice.
Should we do some follow up, Federico?
Follow up. Yes.
So I was noodling around on my iPad as I'm wont to do.
As always.
As I'm wont to do. And I opened the Instagram app, which I have not been using because I didn't like it, because they were loading me into this horrible Reels interface on the homepage, and it's changed for me.
Oh.
Instagram, like many of these large tech companies, they love to A/B test, you know? So I don't know if I'm in some kind of A/B test, but now the kind of homepage of Instagram for my iPad is what I would expect it to be. It's the content from the people that I follow, photos and videos,
okay.
with a distinct tab for Reels. So, like, this is what I want it to be. It's actually emulating the new default layout for Instagram on the phone, where Instagram on the phone now has a messages tab and a Reels tab. Everything's tabbed. And the swiping interface just moves left and right through the tabs, which is always a real jump scare for me when I'm wanting to access the messages on, say, the Cortex brand account, and then it just opens Reels. So that's like a whole other thing to deal with. But yeah, on Instagram on the iPad is usable for me now because it actually works most of the way that I would expect it to work rather than whatever it was they were doing beforehand.
Yeah, I don't think I ever installed it on my iPad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a great
That's good to
iPad
know.
app, if I'm being completely honest. But I don't think we were expecting much. But it is a shame after so much time for it to kind of have been a bit of a damp squid. Is that the phrase? Wet squid? Damp
Wet squid?
Is that a thing
Damp
that people
squid?
say? Damp squid?
Is that
Squib?
squib?
Damp squib, I think is
A
what I'm
damp
looking for.
squib.
Yeah. An event
Okay.
that is not as exciting or popular as people thought it would be.
A damp squib.
What is
Okay.
damp squib? Don't know what a
Is
squib
that is that in the UK an expression?
A squib generally consists of a small tube filled with an explosive substance,
Like a firework?
with a detonator running through the length of its course, similar to the stick of dynamite. Yeah. So I guess one that is damp wouldn't go off, right? Because it's wet.
No.
So
No, it wouldn't.
that's probably where that comes from. Good to know. Good to know.
Okay.
Jony Ive and Sam Altman have said that they finally have a prototype of their AI hardware, which I guess is good considering the amount
speaking of a damp squib.
Wow, what an incredible unexpected transition. So when these two announced that they were working together, I think we expected that they were further along than they clearly have been. Because they seem to have just found this prototype. Apparently, it could arrive in less than 2 years, which is still within the originally stated time frame. Like they said, they would show something in 26, I think, to go on sale in 27. I'm quoting from an article by Julie Clover at Mac Rumours. They say, it will be a sort of active participant that is proactive in a, quote, not annoying way. Essentially, they want...
That doesn't mean anything.
No. They want the device to not be trying to get your attention. They talk a lot about how your iPhone feels like you're walking in Times Square in New York, and they want it to not feel like that. You know, it's okay. Fine. Another quote, I've told Altman that the design is right when you want to lick it or take a bite out of it. And with the current prototype, Altman got that feeling like he wanted to take a bite out of it. I don't know why they're talking like this.
I got it. Plot twist. It's shaped like an apple.
Yeah, I mean, it feels to me that they're trying to emulate the Steve Jobs line, right? Of like UI that looks so good you want to lick it.
No, I got it. I think I got it. It's gonna be shaped like an apple,
Uh-huh.
and they're gonna name it Eve, because it's also like the eve of a new era.
Man, if they do that, I'll be so mad. I'll be so angry if they do this. I'll be like, what are we doing? They speak a lot together. This was they were at an event for, what was it? The Emerson Collective, which is Lorraine Powell Jobs. That's her company, investment firm, that kind of thing. Their demo day, and she's put a lot of money into, I think, both of their endeavors. So it makes sense that they have an obligation really to come and talk. And they speak a lot about wanting devices to feel playful and careful and simple and something you don't think about. And like all of this sounds great, but I have now gotten to the point where I just want them to stop talking.
Yeah.
Like, because they're heading towards humane territory at this point, right? Like, you have to start showing me things and stop just saying nothing things, like things that are nothing without the context of the hardware. Like, I can say this. Me and Federico have been working really hard on this new device, and it's absolutely going to change the way that you think about computers. Like, I can say that too. I just said it. But it doesn't mean anything because I've got nothing to show. It's true. It is true.
You want to lick it, in fact.
You absolutely want to lick it. Twice.
Yeah, lick it twice?
Uh-huh.
Okay. First me, then you. All right, cool.
Yeah. Yep, that's how that works.
Same spot, even.
Yep,
we like to take risks. No, I mean, unfortunately here, the issue is that Altman is the kind of guy who likes to talk.
Yes.
Likes to say things.
But Jony is historically not, right? Which is interesting. Like, he, I think, infamously has not spoken much. He did not speak much in his career at Apple, right? Like, he was never on stage. He was just in pre-recorded videos. He very rarely did interviews. And it feels like in his independent life, he's giving a lot more interviews, and he is going and speaking at events and stuff. Now, I feel like some of these events, like, he has actually, in his independent life, lost some level of autonomy because he is now kind of beholden to investors a little bit more than he was before and stuff like that, right? Or he is beholden to customers and has to, because with his design firm, and so he's doing more events, which is an interesting thing. But I like hearing him talk, but I want to hear him talk about product when the product is something I can see. I'll hear him talk about philosophy and his design ideas for as much as he wants. Like, I just like to hear him talk, but I don't want to hear him talk about, oh, we have this product, it's amazing, like, I can't show it to you or tell you literally anything about it other than the fact that it's going to be super good. Like, I just don't, show me it or don't show me it, and until then, I don't want to hear about it.
I agree. I still feel like this is gonna be some kind of recording device that also has a speaker, and essentially, I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to have like a physical manifestation of ChatGPT that is a cute little object that you carry with you, and it must be pocketable and it must be nice to look at. I think that's where like the lick it or take a bite out of it bit comes from. It's gonna be some kind of soft touch material with a cute shape. And, I mean, I don't doubt that Jony Ive and all the people they hired from Apple, they can make a nice physical object. I don't have any doubts about that. I have many doubts about the actual performance of it all, the utility of it all.
Industrial design they can handle, right? Like, that's
for sure.
That's not a problem, right? But it's about what does it do and how does it work? And those are big unknowns big unknowns. And like, does it even really make sense as a device when we have our iPhone?
I guess if I were to imagine what they're banking on is the fact that, I mean, take a look at what they have done just to push people to install ChatGPT Atlas. So when they made a browser, you go to ChatGPT and it tells you, hey, we have a browser. Now imagine OpenAI really pushing an accessory. And maybe if you are a ChatGPT subscriber, you get some kind of discount.
I was thinking about this today, actually. Sign up for a year, get it for free.
Yeah. Imagine that too. I mean, ChatGPT is now, I was taking a look at some numbers yesterday. They are now accelerating again. They should be hitting before the end of the year 900 million subscribers. No, weekly users.
Like daily
users?
or monthly active users.
So they're approaching 1 billion people using ChatGPT.
So Facebook size, basically.
Even if you sell, like, help me out with the math here. If you sell even that accessory to even just 1% of those people, how much is that?
Yeah, but what I would want to know from those 900 million, how many people actually pay the money? I don't think it's that many people.
I was also taking a look at some projections for that yesterday. I think the information probably reported that they plan to have something like 200 billion or something in revenue. So it's some crazy number that they're projecting.
They can just say whatever they want. Like
again, they can just say whatever they want, right?
Because that's what he's so good at. Altman will just say anything. He'll just say anything, and he's clearly convincing. Like he's able to convince people. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know what their business model is really. Like, hang on, let me rephrase that. Obviously, I know what their business model is. I'm not sure how successful they are achieving it. But we'll see. We'll see. Oh. I mean, it's a very addictive product, right? Like people use it and they want to keep using it. And at a certain point, if you can kind of build the product right, you will get people to sign up. But it's about what they don't want to do is meter access too much. It's very interesting. Very interesting. As a bit of follow-up, you mentioned this on last week's episode at the end, and you did publish this afterwards. I just wanted to note it here that you have written a follow-up article to your M5 iPad Pro review, as you've now got access to the on-device MLX model that you did not have, but Apple was benchmarking against when the device was released, right?
Yeah, I was able to test the version of MLX with the M5 specific improvements. And in fact, I did get the same numbers that Apple was claiming. In fact, in some tests, even better numbers, like a 4.5x improvement. And on the same day, Apple also published a blog post on their machine learning blog with more benchmarks for the M5 and MLX, which is now officially in a beta release on GitHub. If you're a developer and you want to integrate with that, it's in beta on GitHub. And I assume, this is just my personal theory, I assume we're gonna see a public release in the MLX community before the end of the year. So that's just great. I mean, once again, local AI on an iPad is a niche within a niche.
Yeah.
But it's impressive nonetheless, I think.
It's indicative of a potential thing in the future, right? Like, the more powerful they can make this and the more efficient they can make this, the better it will be for the point when we can have really good on-device models. Like when Apple's on-device models get super powerful, they will be able to be processed by their chips at incredible speeds, which could be really interesting.
Yeah, you're not going to wait around too long for a response because that's really what the advantage of the M5 is. And you got to imagine that. So I was thinking about this today. They did CPU acceleration with the M4. They did GPU acceleration with the M5. I kind of feel like, we don't know exactly for how long these chips are in the making. And how quickly Apple realized, LLMs are going to be a thing. We got to optimize our silicon architecture for LLMs. I don't know if the M4 and the M5 are like maybe half steps measure to optimize their chipsets for local AI performance.
What could they do in a short period of time as opposed to a longer period of time?
And so I would expect even bigger improvements, with the M6 or M7. I mean, even if you just take a look at what AMD and NVIDIA are doing now, they're making chipsets and GPUs that are sold as AI GPUs, and then people are buying them for gaming, which is quite clearly that's not. I mean, gaming is now a fraction of NVIDIA's revenue at this point. But I wonder what can Apple do now that they had a couple of years since ChatGPT exploded, and you got to imagine that with future chips they will be able to squeeze even more out of them for local AI performance. We'll see. But yeah,
it's like how obviously they haven't had enough time to create something from the ground up with this in mind. Would they, and what would it look like? That's going to be interesting to see. I mean, especially it will also be interesting. It'll be helpful for them, right? They're going to need a chip like that in there for private cloud compute, because what we know about private cloud compute is that is an incredibly inefficient system. Like, what was it? They just had a bunch of Mac Studios. Like,
with the M3 Ultra.
I don't even think it was that. I think it was like the M2 Ultra or something. And then
right.
they're probably using the M3 Ultra now, but they need custom silicon if they're going to want to run this themselves.
Especially if you want to serve the white label Gemini.
Yes.
Yeah.
Talking about the wonderful website MacStories.net.
Yes.
You published an article with a few more, like, here's a bunch more apps that have been updated for Liquid Glass. And I thought it was interesting. I also had one to throw in the pile, and I'll put a link to MacSparky in it. Ulysses had a nice update.
Nice.
It's not groundbreaking, but they're doing like a lot of the kind of what I like most about Liquid Glass actually is just the kind of restructuring of the apps. Like it seems like the iOS 26 design aesthetic is making a lot of people like think about how their apps are tabbed and what search is like and that kind of stuff, and like where those buttons go. So that's been nice. But yeah, you posted a bunch of good examples of more apps that are like really kind of taking this design aesthetic and doing good things with it. And I think overall, like, it seems to be, it seems like there were a bunch of developers that took time, but that was right for them, and now we're starting to see the fruits of that labor.
Yeah, that I don't know. I've been having a good time with Liquid Glass in third-party apps, and there was a rush, obviously, in September, and I think over the past couple of months, a lot of developers have refined as much as they could, and also I think it's just us. I think we've gotten used to Liquid Glass and the customization that is happening in 26.2. I think it's also helping, and obviously that's not out to the public yet. But yeah, I think, I don't know. I feel like I prefer now, like when I open a third-party app on my phone now, and it doesn't have the Liquid Glass keyboard, and it hasn't been updated, I'm like,
I don't understand apps that don't have the keyboard, at least. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, so I use Duolingo, right? They still got the old keyboard. So what are we doing, Duolingo? Like, you update that app like every 4 days. Like, could you not build for 26 at any point, or what? Yeah, it's fascinating to me. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, I have been encouraged, I think, by the amount of apps that I wouldn't have expected that have like adopted the new toolbars and stuff, at least, so they still feel kind of at home. I wanted to mention, in case you have forgotten, you should not have forgotten, we are currently doing 20% off an annual plan for this show and all of our shows that have membership over Relay. You can go to giverelay.com to learn more, where you can sign up to become a member. You will get an ad-free version of this show each and every week of additional content. Today, we do what we always do when Steven's not here, and we just talk about real gamers topics for real gamers. That's at Connected Pro. You can just go to giverelay.com. You can purchase as a gift for yourself, or you can buy it as a gift for someone else, and you can do that for any of our shows. Or if you want to, you can just go to getconnectedpro.co and use the code 2025holidays at checkout. Really easy to do so, and you'll be supporting the show. We would love it if you supported the show, in all honesty, because it means a lot to us. We put a lot of work into the show. We love doing it. Advertising is an unexpected and fickle thing. Advertising is more difficult than it's ever been, which is kind of like a continued thing. Like, podcast advertising has become harder every year that we've been running our business. It's just like it's always harder. But one of the things that's really benefited us over the last 5 years is having membership to support our shows. And I know this is something Federico's experienced with Mac Stories and NPC. Like having people support you with the content that you make, and because they enjoy it really helps. It like takes the pressure off us. It gives us a level of money that we can feel confident in, because once people sign up, they do not cancel. Basically, like we have very, very low churn, which means like people leaving. Like we bring in more people than we lose. So if you are one of those people, thank you so much. But please go to giverelay.com, learn more, sign up. You get 20% off an annual plan for your first year. It's just $56. So it's like $1 an episode for the next year. You'll be supporting us, and we'll give you a lot of bonuses in return. This episode is brought to you by Ecamm. If you're a Mac user who creates video or podcasts, you need Ecamm, because Ecamm Live is the all-in-one studio built exclusively for the Mac. It looks, feels, and performs like a native pro app should. Whether you're live streaming, recording a podcast, or producing training videos, Ecamm gives you broadcast-level control with drag-and-drop simplicity. You can switch cameras, share your screen, cue overlays, and control audio, all without ever leaving your Mac. With Ecamm, you can brand your show with titles, graphics, and lower thirds. You can pull in guests via interview mode or record multi-track audio for perfect post-production. If you're into automation, Ecamm works beautifully with tools and apps like Stream Deck and Loopback, as well as many other Mac tools you already know and love, because this is a real Mac app. Like, this feels like a Mac app. It works like a Mac app. It is built by people who love the Mac and want to make the best streaming software available, and it really is incredible. Like, there was a time when trying to stream from a Mac was essentially impossible, but Ecamm have unlocked that power, and all of the power that's in our new Macs these days, or Apple Silicon Macs, they're very capable of this stuff. We were just missing the right software, and Ecamm Live is absolutely the right software. You can upgrade to Pro and unlock Ecamm for Zoom. This will let you feed your polished setup straight into Zoom meetings or webinars. You can share Zoom comments on screen and even capture each participant's audio and video separately for easy post-production work. Right now, new customers can get Ecamm's best offer of the year. You can get 40% off an annual plan in their Black Friday Cyber Monday deal at ecamm.com. That is ECAMM.com. That is 40% off annual plans between now and December 2nd at ecamm.com. Our thanks to Ecamm for their support of this show and Relay. Our friend, the rumor wizard, Mark Gurman, has had a report. The report focused on a bunch of different things, but the thing I wanted to talk about with you most is about iOS 27. Okay. Mark says that there will be a focus in two key areas: AI features and overall operating system quality. Mark invokes Snow Leopard. In fact, the image in the article is Bertrand Soleil, which is a name I've not heard in a long time. Standing in front of macOS 10 Snow Leopard. Now, Snow Leopard is known as the no new releases year, which is, it's the thing that is bandied around a lot. Apple should have a Snow Leopard year, which was the idea of like increasing software quality and fixing bugs. That was the way Apple pitched it, but actually under the hood, Snow Leopard was a massive re-architecture of a bunch of different key technologies, and the introduction, I think, of Grand Central Dispatch, like a bunch of like really heavy stuff under the hood. From a user's perspective, it was more about making the operating system feel better to use. And as since, like, people forget about, and people don't really think about the big underpinning stuff, but they think about the user-facing features. Now, we'll come back to this again in a minute, but I actually think if Apple does what Mark is saying here, this actually would be Snow Leopard-like in bug fixes and big under-the-hood stuff. So, basically, it seems like at the moment, if you're not working on AI at Apple, you are working on fixing things to make the system run smoother. This appears to be what Mark is pitching, that like everybody is just working on cutting bloat, fixing bugs, like making the system nicer to use. But also, Mark does expect, considering that we just got a full redesign, that iOS 27 would feature some new styling and customization options for Liquid Glass. So just stopping on that part, from like a bug fixes and performance improvements release, what is your thought on that for the 27 calendar?
I feel like there's gonna be a lot of Liquid Glass refinements. I think a lot of people. I see these viral posts every once in a while, showing like some glitchy Liquid Glass animation or visual bug. I think there's gonna be. I think Apple can tell a nice story about like, and we looked at every nook and cranny of iOS, and like this idea of iOS has grown so much over the past decade, and it's undergone so many changes that it's every once in a while it's gotta be time for spring cleaning and optimizing everything. And so I think this idea of we're gonna make I think it's uniquely Apple to say we are gonna make everyone's phones faster and more efficient, even the older ones. And Apple is already well known for being one of the only company that actually cares about supporting old phones with software updates. And so I think it would be in Apple's best interest, also going against the idea of what do they call it, planned obsolescence, like to say we're gonna make everybody's devices look faster, be more efficient, be more polished. That's a nice story.
Yeah, because I think maybe one of the only things that I have heard, which I feel like would make sense, is that iOS 26 is rough on some of the older phones that Apple supports.
Yeah.
And I could understand that completely, right? Like that feels like a thing that totally makes sense to me, and that they could maybe do some work to make that better. I mean, like when you think about like iOS 26 runs on the iPhone 11.
Yeah.
Like,
remember that?
That is a really old phone at this point. So it's impressive that they do it, but you've got to assume that is not where they are prioritizing when they're rolling it out first, but they could take some time making that better for later. I mean, in general, I think they've had a win with iOS 26. Like, I don't hear complaints. I mean, it doesn't seem like they've done the press the button, it goes to everyone yet, which is they're getting pretty late in the year. But I would understand why you would not do that, especially because they seem to not be able to stop themselves from adding new features in all the point releases right now. It's like, I wouldn't be surprised at this point if what people end up getting on their phones is 26.2 rather than 26.1. Because
I think it's gotta be that one when they push the button to
26.2, you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Because it seems like to me at least, it feels like if they were going to push when I say push the button, it's I'm expecting the vast majority of the listeners of this show go and get they go to system settings and ask for the update, right? But there comes a point in the year when Apple will start pushing it to everybody else. And so the people that have automatic updates, they're going to wake up one day and their phone's going to be updated. And it doesn't appear like that's happened yet. And so if they've not done it by now, I would expect they're waiting for a specific release, and it might be 0.2 because they you can tell me, you obviously you have a much better sense of this stuff than me. Does it feel like they're adding more features in these point releases than they would normally?
Feels like, especially this early in the cycle.
Yeah.
Like usually the more rich releases were like 0.3 or 0.4, historically speaking. So I don't know if they have, accelerated or changed timelines, or, just they had so much that they wanted to be sure, especially since the whole Apple Intelligence debacle from last year.
Well, that's got to come at some point, right? The 0.3 or 0.4?
Yeah, that's going to happen at some point. And but to go back to what the sheriff is saying, I think there is an angle for Apple to essentially productize performance improvements. Because the thing that I hear from people in my real life all the time is, should I update? Is it going to make my phone run slower? Like, that is the question. And if they can actually flip that and say, actually this software update is designed to make your phone faster,
Yep.
I think that is a way beyond emoji to convince people to upgrade. And yeah, I think they should do it. I think, honestly, it's been a while. I mean, I've been reviewing iOS for the past 11 years. I can imagine that there's a lot under the hood that could use like just a whole bunch of engineers sitting down and be like, okay, how do we polish all of this? Like, there must be some old and in the process, I would imagine they're gonna get rid of some stuff, right? That's usually what happens. Like, I would imagine that some features will be deprecated if they're doing this. I don't know what, but I would imagine that some things will be turned off or removed, or they will pick some new defaults for settings, or just there are so many options and so many sub settings on iOS today. I would imagine that with this kind of focus on overall quality, you would get rid of some things.
Yeah, move things around, collapse some things into each other. Like, there are always features and settings and all that stuff that can be tidied up, right? Because there's just stuff that's just not being used, or it's not being used in the way it's expected to be used. And can they kind of work some stuff, re-architect some stuff, those kinds of things. But Mark Gurman obviously expects that for Apple Intelligence, we should see the improved Siri before iOS 27 is released, but we'll continue to see more improvements there. Now, so he references in iOS 27 specifically that there would be some health app features powered by Apple Intelligence, some form of an AI-powered web search, and Gurman keeps referencing big AI upgrades, but doesn't really mention what they are. I guess the expectation is there's more to know. He says that he's not expecting them to ship a Siri kind of chatbot app, which I think is a mistake if they don't do that, in my opinion.
I agree.
Because they're testing one internally, but he's not expecting that they will ship that. But yeah, I mean, here's my thing. I mean, I said this a few places, I keep saying it. I don't think that we get the Gemini-powered Siri before we see iOS 27.
Oh,
that's my bet. This all just feels like it's coming in too hot. Like, to expect that in March we're going to get this when it feels like they're still doing the deal. Like, it just seems too... I mean, it's still within the year, right? They said it, within the year. Like, I think we get it in the 26th cycle, but I think it comes after WWDC.
I don't know.
It shouldn't. I mean, it really shouldn't. But
I feel like I would say I could see a scenario in which we do get it just in the Siri voice UI.
Yeah.
Before 27. But then we get it with the Siri chatbot in the 27 release cycle. Not necessarily in September. But I don't think there's I mean, let's imagine this, right? Let's fast forward to June 2026. It's gonna be how many? When did ChatGPT came out? Was it late 2022 or late 2023?
It was late 23 because we just moved into our new house, I think.
Right. So it's gonna be almost 3-4 years since ChatGPT. And here we are at WWDC 2026, and Apple does not announce a Siri chatbot experience.
Late 2022, correction, late 2022.
Okay, so 4 years.
Yeah.
I just don't find that possible at this point. That they're gonna be on stage and announce a bunch of Apple Intelligence features in Safari, in Notes, in Apple Music, in Health, and they're gonna just show off Siri with the usual UI. You ask a question and that's it.
Yeah, and there's like no way to access previous conversations,
or just to type and have a conversation.
Like, I think the thing that makes it feels especially unlikely to me. Like, and I understand what Mark's saying, but the fact that they thought it was important enough to build an internal tool, shows that they know. So they got to get it right. I think my kind of hesitance is to the overall package, right? Like, we might see a better Siri before WWDC, But I am not convinced we will see personal context or on-screen awareness or app intents. Like, I do not think that all of that ships before iOS 27. Like, I think some of these features ship with iOS 27. Like, I think that I don't know if they're ever going to ship some of that stuff.
I gotta tell you, having been really plugged into this whole ecosystem for the past year,
yeah,
and being the person that likes to use AI for automation and productivity, which is why I really like Claude because of the app integrations.
yeah,
right? Using AI with services like Todoist, Notion, Slack, Gmail. If there's a thing that really confuses and slows down LLMs is when you enable a lot of integrations. And that's partly the nature of the protocol that they're using, MCP, which now all of the major companies are sort of trying to fix MCP, but so far the biggest obstacle has been, as users, the fact that when you enable a lot of connectors, it just confuses the model, slows down the model. Especially when you have apps and services that have tools that are similar to each other, right?
It has to try and work out where to go.
Which one, right? And Apple is saying, no, we're gonna make it work with all the apps on your phone, with all the app intents, every app on your phone.
All of them.
I mean, unless they made, and look, this is totally possible, unless they made internally a major breakthrough in tool calling and how LLMs are supposed to make sense of this branching, mosaic of integrations. I really don't know how they're going to make it work, especially when you have even the simplest thing. If you have, like millions of people on your phone, you have Apple Notes and Notion. How's that going to work? Like, are you going to be asked every single time, where do you want to save a note?
But this goes back to the original thing. It didn't exist.
It didn't exist. It didn't exist. And now you have all these companies like the Anthropic and Google and OpenAI. They're saying, well, look, MCP was nice, but we have realized that actually it's better if instead of calling these tools with natural language, it's actually better if you use code. If we just call them using, if the model writes some code instead of talking to MCP using the verbosity of the English language. And what is Apple Intelligence on device exactly going to do there? Like, I don't know. Honestly, don't know. Which is why I'm so... I think they have to do it. Here's the thing. I think they have to do it. First of all, I don't know if they can do it on device, which was their big thing last year. Like, oh, we're going to have a model on device, and it's going to call all these app intents, and it's going to pull all these context from you. Like, okay, sure. I can tell you that I've tested personally on my MacBook Pro, on my Mac Studio, open source models from China, usually, that say that they support local tool calling. And I can tell you, it's a mess. And those are big models. Those are like 30 billion parameter models. And they absolutely go nuts when you try and run a local tool that is not baked into the model. And Apple is saying, well, no, actually, we can do it with a 3 billion model on device. And I'm like, yeah? How? Like, it's puzzling to me.
Yeah, I heard this on a podcast I was listening to recently. It might have been the Vergecast. And they were talking about this. There's this, like, growing movement of, like, LLMs, it's not intelligence. And you can't get intelligence out of it. Like, you can't. LLMs will not get us to actual artificial intelligence. Like, it's just words. Like, and that's not enough, right? And like, I think this is an example of what you're talking about, of like just using words, like the exchange of words is not enough to understand everything you need to understand quickly enough. Like, it's not like when I use words with you, you can infer all of the context that's needed. Like, we can have a conversation and make sense of it. LLMs can't do that.
If you like that topic, it's very technical, but
Yeah.
I would recommend an episode of the Dwarkesh podcast. This week came out an in-depth interview with Ilya Sutskever,
Okay.
one of the co-founders and former chief scientist at OpenAI. And one of the big takeaways from the interview was that Ilya thinks that LLMs are not going to get us to real AGI or ASI. And we must go back to the age of research, as he said. And it sort of became a meme, like, oh, we're going back to the age of research. But that's essentially the takeaway. Like, we need to, Ilya, I mean, he's not an idiot, right? It's quite a smart guy. And he's saying, yeah, I mean, we probably, the whole idea being like, we can continue scaling these LLMs and throw more servers and throw more compute power at them. But we're hitting a wall. And we got to go back to new research approaches if we really want to, take the next step. And
they really jumped the gun by just rebranding this as intelligence, I think. I mean, this was like my thing in the beginning, right? Where it's like, this is just machine learning. Like, that's what this is. It is just really advanced machine learning.
I think there's a difference between being smart and being intelligent.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
This can be really smart tools.
Yeah.
But very frequently they are not intelligent tools.
Yes.
And to go back to what we were saying before, Apple went on stage and said, we're going to use an on-device model to orchestrate all of these apps on your device with all of these possible commands about you.
The further we get from WWDC 24, the more insane that feels, like what they did.
It was like a fever dream of an announcement.
Like it feels like, why did you do this? The amount of aggravation and energy they are going to have to expend as an organization to fix that mistake is unbelievable, right?
And I mean, I think it's gonna happen,
but it's not going to be good though.
No, I think realistically,
because they are now doing the thing that Apple never likes to do for themselves, is they are forced to a timeline that everyone knows about, right?
And the from my perspective, the most obvious reality is that it's not going to happen on device like you think it should.
Yeah.
I think the private cloud compute model, so Gemini, will make sense of your request, will get some kind of encrypted and personalized sort of map of all the tools that you have, and it's going to decide which tool to use, and everything is going to run in private cloud compute. So Apple will sell you.
There are so many reasons I don't want that to happen.
The local model will execute those commands. But you must be connected to the internet for the original request to be parsed and understood. That's the thing that I strongly believe.
Because one of the things that I really liked about what they were pitching was like, oh great, if it's on device, it's like not expending the energy in a data center, right? So like I can feel like unshackled from feeling bad. I'm just using my phone and it's all on here. But if we're now like, I'm sending some graph to the internet every time. And also, then it's like we're taking a step back again because Siri got better when we worked so hard to get these things to be processed on device. And now we need to go off device. But yeah, I think you're right. Like, I can't see how they're going to do this without a data center in the middle of it. But that's so not what they set out to try to do.
No.
For so many good reasons.
I mean, obviously, happy to be proven wrong, but once again, like I said 10 minutes ago, maybe they made a major breakthrough internally that we don't know of.
I just don't think the likelihood of that to me feels so slim.
Yes,
like no offense to them, but like I don't think breakthroughs like this are really found when you have a gun to your head.
Yep.
Like this isn't that this whole situation has not created the kind of good, creative, collaborative environment that people want to work in. So, fascinating to see what 27 is going to be like, and that's to kind of wrap it around. Maybe it does end up being a Snow Leopard year where on the surface there's a lot of focus on stability, but underneath a ton of stuff going on with Apple Intelligence. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe the Snow Leopard approach is actually for the regional announcement of Apple Intelligence.
Yes.
We really need to make this work.
We fixed the bug of not having this entire set of tools by now having them bug fixed. This episode is made possible by KRCS, one of the oldest Apple premium resellers and your one-stop shop for all things Apple in the United Kingdom. And their month of savings is well underway because right now at KRCS you can build the Mac of your dreams in their Black Friday event and save 10%. Shop the new MacBook Pro 14-inch with M5 for just $1,439. That's £1,439. That is a £160 saving. You can make your Mac truly yours and have the specification you want, or take your pick from their in-stock models and save 10% until midday on the 5th of December. You can even spread the cost of affordable monthly payments. With free next working day delivery on in-stock items ordered before 3 p.m., there's never been a better time to get a Mac at KRCS, your local Apple experts. You can get more information at krcs.co.uk/relay or click the link in the show notes. Representative 9.9% APR of 18 and over, subject to approval, and T's and C's apply. Please spend responsibly. Borrowing beyond your means could seriously affect your financial status. Ensure you can afford to make your repayments on time by the due date. KRCS are a broker, not a lender. Please go and check out krcs.co.uk/relay right now. That is krcs.co.uk/relay. These are incredible deals, and to get discounts on Apple products at any time of the year is quite an incredible thing. So go check out KRCS. And also, you know I have a preference for this company. They're in the UK. I love it. krcs.co.uk/relay. Our thanks to KRCS for their support of this show. Considering it is Thanksgiving weekend, I thought, why not talk about some things in the world of technology that we are thankful for? And we will bring back the old round robin and take this in turns. Would you like to go first, Federico?
Yes. Let's see. Where should I start? I am thankful for. I want to start with the iPhone Air.
Okay.
I am really loving this phone. It's made me appreciate using the iPhone in a way that wasn't true for the past few years, where things had gotten kind of boring, and whenever I was holding my phone for too long, I would get pain in my wrists. This phone I use it all the time. Like, it's become, I no longer use my iPad to read stuff in bed. This has become the device where I watch TV shows, I read books, I read articles, I watch YouTube. It's such a pleasure to use this device. And sure, I do miss more freedom with the camera, but I'm living with it. I'm learning to live with it, framing my shots better, taking different pictures, and I was given the opportunity, if I wanted to switch to a 17 Pro Max, because I also, I have a review unit of that. And no, I'm sticking with the iPhone Air because I truly love it so much. It's every day when I pick it up, it feels like I'm holding an object that is not supposed to exist. And maybe it won't if it's not successful, but I enjoy the fact that for this moment in time, I'm using Apple's most futuristic iPhone to date.
It's not going to matter to you if they cancel this phone.
No.
You will move on to the folding phone.
I will move on to the folding one. And also, no future failure is going to take away this beautiful moment in time that is happening now. So, whatever. I'm thankful for it now.
I'm going to piggyback on that because I also love my iPhone Air, but I love it for some of the things that I get out of it that are specific to having a second device. So I use my iPhone Air as... It has a few purposes for me. One, I do need a device for testing and screenshots and stuff like that for my work with David and Stephen at CrossForward. But also I have apps and experiences on the iPhone Air that I don't put on my main phone. Like when I'm at home, my iPhone Air lives in my backpack, and if I need it for some work stuff, I have to grab it. Now, all of the text-based social media in my life is on that phone. the Slacks that I'm in, it's on that phone. So my personal phone, when I'm not at work, when I'm not at a work computer, I don't get kind of pulled into those worlds. And it, for me, has been it's been very helpful to have that separation from some parts of my work life when I don't want to have that, and like to not be drawn into things that I don't want to be drawn into. So to kind of have that distance a little bit more has been really nice. And it's a project that I started with the Pixel Fold, which was also to understand a little bit more about kind of like the usefulness and utility of folding phones in anticipation of 2026. But also the idea of kind of separating these devices. And yeah, I found it to be a real nice pleasure, like to have this device, and having it be an iPhone has been a better experience for me. Like it's easier for me to be able to get to all the things that I need to get to in the way that I want to. And then also it's become pretty essential for the work on like Widgetsmith and Pedometer. So yes, I love it, but I really do love having that distance. And of all the phones to have as a second device, the iPhone Air is a real good one.
Yeah. I am thankful for, and this is going to sound maybe a little counterintuitive to some folks who listen to the podcast. I am thankful for AI-based search tools.
Okay.
Like web search tools inside AI apps, because they're making me a more curious person. And I can tell you, honestly, I've discovered more blogs and more websites in the past year since like web search in LLMs really took off.
Mm-hmm.
Than ever before. Like, look, as the owner of a website that has been scraped over and over by these LLMs,
the original sin.
I know the pain, right? I know. I've learned to accept the current reality, and I guess what I'm trying to say is that for me, there has been a positive upside in all of this, which is I've discovered a lot of websites, a lot of blogs that I've then started reading and added to my RSS feeds because they were quoted in their responses by these LLMs. And in general, I think I'm now using this approach of like searching Google manually the old-fashioned way, plus complementing it with usually like Claude or ChatGPT. Like I think, especially Claude doesn't really have great web search. I feel like ChatGPT or Perplexity, since they scraped everything, they also have better web search results. But I think it's nice to be able to find the humanity in some of these scraped responses. And for me, that has been finding blogs from people, like people who publish tutorials, or even finding new YouTube creators, right? I was looking up some answer and a YouTube video is cited as a source. And I'm like, oh, that's an interesting creator. And I've started following a bunch of people like that. So yeah, it wasn't ideal originally, but now as a user, I'm discovering these people that normally I wouldn't have discovered. And I think that's a net positive for me. So yeah. I'm thankful that at least I was able to find some positive aspect and some humanity in all the web scraping.
I mean, I guess that part of it sounds like it's somewhat similar to when web searching began, in a way. Like, I'm sure that there was a lot of concern initially amongst some people that, like, is Google not just going to give the answers and then nobody bothers reading? And maybe that wasn't initially, but over time, for sure, right? As Google just started, before even the AI overview, which is absolutely the worst implementation of AI that I've come across, the AI overview. Like, it's fascinating to me. Like, I think Google is like undermining their advancements in Gemini by providing that tool, because it is so frequently wrong in a way that I'm convinced Gemini would not be if I just searched on Gemini. Like, I think Google should get rid of the AI overview in Google search. Like, I don't think it is helping them as an organization on a bunch of fronts. But anyway, that's a hill that I will die on. But yeah, I wonder, like, I wonder if this is an experience that most people will have. I assume people probably won't work like you, but I also figure that people who Google something, get one search result, and then that's the end of it. Like, I can't imagine that, they're often like adding these to their RSS reader or whatever anyway. But I guess people aren't getting the clicks. The monetization issue is a nightmare. We're not going to solve it on this podcast.
No.
I will mention ChatGPT is the thing that I am thankful for in some of the uses that I've had since becoming a dad. Like, there's just so much stuff to try and learn. And there is a ton of information out there. And me getting a good place to be able to kind of like understand milestones and behaviors has been very helpful. And has been very helpful at me trying to like whittle something down to then be able to start doing some work on it, right? Like, this thing has happened. What could this possibly be? Okay, now I can go and start doing my own research. I've been finding it really helpful in that, and also in some other places in my life, like some of the things that I've been doing for CrossForward, I'm like coming across terms and I'm on meetings with people. They're saying things that I don't understand, and like being able to kind of have these ongoing conversations with ChatGPT that are like, okay, so what does this term mean? What does that term mean? And it giving me that kind of rounded knowledge has been helpful. And it's similar, I mentioned this before, but like one of the reasons that I was happy to start blogging again is because there are so many tools now, including ChatGPT, that can help me with my grammar and punctuation, because it's just not a thing that I feel very confident in. And so it gives me the confidence to feel like I can publish things on the internet and not have people either A, being very nice and correcting me about things, or B, making fun of me, which has happened a lot in my life by people on this podcast.
Yeah, not me.
Yeah,
obviously.
sure. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna follow that up with I'm thankful for Claude, which is my LLM of choice, and it's allowing me and John to, we're a small team, and we do a lot of things. We have a lot of responsibilities, and I feel like I speak for John too when I say that we like Claude because of the focus on productivity, and it's sort of allowing us to work faster and retain our creativity. Like, we still like to write all of our articles the old-fashioned way, but it's amplifying the effect of the other things that we're supposed to do, the administrative stuff. I think I'm becoming a better business person.
Yeah,
because of it, like making sense of stats and numbers.
You can talk through
way.
Stuff and have conversations and take the amount of time that you wouldn't get from other professionals that maybe you couldn't even afford anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And so just the other day, like I exported like a full database of all our analytics for the past year and a half, and it was like 300 megabytes of CSV files and a bunch of stuff like that. And first of all, I used a script that John created with Claude to split up the CSV into smaller files, because you have a file size upload limit in Claude. So I split them up in a bunch of files, and then I asked Claude, like, okay, this is a full dump of our analytics for the past 18 months. I need you to make sense of it and to visualize it in a nice way. And you got to find trends, patterns, interesting things about our audience, countries, time of day, day of the week, like everything. And it created this incredible dashboard for me with real data, right? Because everything is based on the files. And it's been an eye-opening experience, not just in what AI can do, but in what AI can do when it works with you with real data, no hallucinations, and just, I don't know. I keep thinking of this idea of like it's amplifying the things I do. It's not replacing me, but it's giving me like a collection of small superpowers throughout the week. That's how I think of it. And so you think of ChatGPT for your family life, for parenting, and I think of Claude for productivity. But we're basically saying the same thing.
I wanted to mention the Athletic app, which I've been talking about a bunch, which does such a great job of pulling in so much health data for me and making sense of it, and they keep adding new features that I like. Like they just really enhanced their step stuff. So like being able to look at the steps that I'm taking, look at my average heart rate per step, and all that kind of stuff. And like while I'm walking, if Apple don't make something kind of close to this, I don't know what they're doing over there. Like they have all this data and all this information, and then this small team at Athletic is just crushing it. Like, it's fantastic. Like I'd been using Whoop for a long time, and I've canceled my Whoop subscription, and that's the end of that. Like this is so much better, and I don't have to wear a second thing.
Nice. I will mention these two together: the Aeon Thor and SteamOS.
Okay.
The Aeon Thor, it's a what if the 3DS but launched this year and running Android.
Yeah,
it's a handheld. It's a dual screen handheld by this company called AYN. We spoke about it on MPC with John and Brandon a lot. It's so far my handheld of the year, and the thing is, I don't necessarily use it for dual screen emulation of DS and 3DS. I mostly use it to play PC games on Android through this emulation layer called Game Hub. There's a lot of movement happening on that front of like emulating Windows games on Android. Valve itself is going to do it next year with the Steam Frame VR headset. And I've been using the Aeon Thor as essentially a more portable, pocketable, inherently more easier to carry around because it's a clamshell Steam Deck. It's basically a Steam Deck emulator in such a portable and cute device. And it's perfect for indie games. Indie games like Ball Pit or Balatro or just 2D RPGs, for example. Stuff that is not really graphically demanding, you can just emulate on Android these days with these devices. And the Aeon Thor, I love it because I've been carrying around this device everywhere with me. Like even in my jacket pocket, like you can throw it in a bag, put it in a backpack. It's a clamshell, so it's protected by itself. I love it so much. And it's not perfect. It could be more ergonomic. There have been some issues with the speakers, but nothing is perfect in this handheld scene.
Especially the prices that these products sell at. Like they're so cheap relatively.
Yeah.
That they're the imperfections is actually an important part of the pricing process. These things aren't built with the same rigor that an Android phone will be, but they're as powerful inside.
Yeah. So this one is good.
I'll mention a gaming device, the Nintendo Switch 2. Love my Switch 2. There's been a good steady stream of games for the Switch 2, and the hardware is wonderful. And it's just really nice to be able to play these games that I love from Nintendo at last gen graphics. But like it's good though. Like I like being able to play games that look good and feel good and run great. Like that is just a treat. I do really like the hardware. I wish there were more accessories like to make it more feel ergonomically better for me. I did get the D brand, not the kill switch, but just the Joy-Con holders, the Joy Lock or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
And that's been made my experience much nicer. I recommend that to people. It's possible to just buy just the kind of grips for the Joy-Cons, and it works great. And then you don't have to do all the nonsense that they want you to do with the like external dock thing that they've got. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that.
I am thankful for Notion, the popular note-taking app. It's not necessarily because it's integrated with AI. I can use it from Claude. I can use it from all my other AI experiments. And it also has its own AI. It's just, I love the idea of modular software. I love the idea of modularity in general as a person. I mean, you know me, I love my iPad because of the accessories. I love portable devices because of how intrinsically modular they can be. But Notion is modular software. It's like the digital equivalent of Lego. You can build so many things and so many different things. And this has been the year that I've gone really all in on Notion. And then we went all in on Notion as a team at Mac Stories. And it's, again, it's amplifying the things we do. It's accelerating the things we do.
Yeah.
I have a database with John. I have a database with my web developer, and we can keep track of each other's responsibilities. But also, I have my own space. It's where I sync my highlights from my Read Later app. It's where I write my articles, and then I export my articles in an app that I will be thankful for in a minute. It's just it's fun to work with it. It can be fun to a fault. But I've tried my best not to become one of those people that just tinkers with Notion, forever. I get work done in Notion, and I have become the kind of person that religiously takes daily notes and then reviews his daily notes. And I've been doing that for well over 6 months at this point. And yeah, it's I also know a whole bunch of people that work at Notion, and I don't know, they give me the sort of vibe of people that care about making great software without being scammy or what is the word that I'm thinking of? There's another adjective that without hyping Notion too much. They care, they just want to make it great, and Notion is pretty great, and it keeps getting better. And there's the old Notion AI discussion, but a lot of people don't like that. I personally do, but just in general, as a note-taking app, as a space to save documents and collaborate, it's pretty great. Yeah.
I want to talk about the iPhone camera system. So I love the iPhone camera on my 17 Pro. I think it's really nice. I think they've done a pretty good job overall. And like I think it's great that we live in a time where I can take such incredible photos of my family, like just with the thing that I have in my pocket. Like it's, like with many people who become parents, I've come to appreciate just how good that is. But also I wanted to give a shout out to Continuity Camera. I use Continuity Camera on my Mac, like the one that I'm recording on now, like whenever I do video calls or video podcasts and stuff like that. And it works so good. Like, it's not perfect. Like sometimes I have to unplug and replug, but it works shockingly well at incredible quality for what is going on. Now I do use it wired, like because I want to get the best I can get out of it. But that is a fantastic piece of software, Continuity Camera. It works really great, and I'm able to use. I have an iPhone 15 Pro Max that I use as my webcam, and it is essentially flawless.
Nice. My last one is going to be Drafts, the also note-taking app by Greg Pierce on iOS, iPadOS, and macOS. This has also been the year that I've gone all in on using Drafts and using Drafts for what it's supposed to be, which is, what's the whole thing, like where text starts. That's how I've been using Drafts this year. And it's become the place, the app that I open every time I have an idea. I open Drafts and run an action that I vibe coded with Claude to save it to my daily note in Notion. But it's also a destination in the sense that when I'm done writing a draft of a story in Notion, then I export it to Drafts using another script that I created with Claude. And Drafts is the place where I put all the finishing touches, like all the markdown editing. This is exactly how I did the entire iOS 26 review this year. It was entirely written in Notion and then exported at the very end as markdown in Drafts, where I put all the final plain text finishing touches. But yeah, the freedom, there's a common thread, I think, between Claude, Notion, and Drafts. The idea of productivity software that is highly customizable, like that I realize is like my thing. Customization has always been my thing, but I, especially usually for video games before. And then I realized with the iPad hardware, I really liked customization too, like, customizing the iPad with accessories and all those things. But this year I realized how customization can be a thing in productivity software as well. Like the combination of Claude, Notion, Drafts, shortcuts, like all these things coming together to essentially helping me create my own things, my own commands, my own workflows. I guess it was always a thing for me, automation. But now that I can be helped by these AI tools, and now that these web services like Notion can communicate with apps on my phone, like Drafts, for example, or Claude, because of an API, it's all coming together beautifully for me. Where I don't know, I feel like Drafts is a great example of take something simple, and it can't stay simple if you want to, right? That's how many people use Drafts. It's just a plain text field, but if you want to, you can make it so complex, and it can become like this really powerful text editor that can help you deal with a 30,000 word review comprised of multiple chapters and pages in Drafts. And so, Greg Pierce, also a great guy, and has been working on this for 12, 13 years at this point. Yes, Drafts is really, 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 really good.
And I'll finish up by saying if you have an iPad mini lying around, super good for a nursery device for white noise. And for us, at least initially in the early months of our daughter's life, when we were just sitting in the nursery or she's sleeping on us, it was good for watching TV. But in general, like white noise stuff is super good on iPhones. Like we try to find devices, like physical devices to do it. And they're just really unhappy with the quality and the options that were available. And realistically, an old iOS device is the way to go. And I tried a bunch of things. Honestly, the thing that I landed on was just Widgetsmith. Widgetsmith has really good like background sounds in it, and I think brown noise is kind of the best sound that to annoy the fewest people. And it works really well for us, and it's obviously available on all our devices, so that's what I've been using. I've got a little widget of my daughter's sleeping face, and we press it, and the white noise begins. But yeah, just in general, like it's just a helpful thing to have. We've got all of the baby tracking stuff on it, like in the apps that we use, like Mango, which is an app that I've recommended in the past. Using like that device has been super helpful for us. So. Very, very happy to have been able to repurpose it. I guess just a sub thing for me, reusing old iOS devices, iPad OS devices is super good. Like finding places in your life where these things can be used instead of, if you don't have anyone to pass them down to, or you didn't trade them in or whatever, like it's good to have these devices and use them for different things.
Yep.
But of course, most of all, we're thankful for you for listening. So thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Connected. If you'd like to find us online, there's a few places that you could do that. Federico is the editor-in-chief of MacStories.net, and you can find him on various social medias as well. You can find me at theenthusiast.net and at cortexbrand.com. When you're hearing this, if provided it's before the end of Cyber Monday, we're doing a 20% off sale at Cortex Brand right now. It's our first sale, so I'm intrigued to see how that's going to go. I would like to thank our sponsors of this episode, KRCS and Ecamm. I'll speak for Stephen and say that he is also thankful for you, even though he's not here. Please do not take Stephen's absence as him not being thankful for you, the listener. He's just taken the week off to celebrate Thanksgiving with his family. We'll be back next week. Until then, say goodbye, Federico.
Arrivederci.